The next AI winter. If you have been on the internet in the last few years, you have probably seen ChatGPT, Midjourney, or Google's Gemini. These tools can write poems, draw realistic pictures, and even help you with your math homework. It feels like magic. It feels like the future is finally here. But if you look closely at the history of technology, you will see a repeating pattern. Boom, then bust, then boom, again. This pattern has happened to artificial intelligence, AI, before, and many experts believe it is about to happen again. We may be standing on the edge of what insiders call the next AI winter. The whole idea of AI has had its ups and downs over the past 50 years. In the 1980s, basic neural nets, which are rough copies of how the brain works, and expert systems, computer programs that tried to act like a human expert, had a day in the sun. Companies poured millions of dollars into these systems, promising that computers would soon replace doctors and engineers. But the computers were too slow, the data was too messy, and the promises were too big. Eventually, the money dried up. That was the first major AI winter. Funding froze, researchers lost their jobs, and the field became a joke in some tech circles. Then, a few decades later, the cycle started again. Natural language processing, getting computers to understand actual human speech and text, was a problem for years. It was incredibly hard to teach a computer the difference between the chicken is ready to eat and I am ready to eat the chicken. But around 2018, a new type of technology called the transformer model changed everything. This led to the creation of large language models, LLMs. For the past 4 years or so, these LLMs have had a heyday. Companies like OpenAI, Anthropic, and Meta have been in a race to build bigger and bigger brains made of silicon. Now, however, we are starting to see signs that this LLM wave is fading. Why? Because it has accumulated some serious, unpayable debts, while failing to deliver a digital utopia. Let's talk about those debts first. The first debt is financial. Training a single massive AI model can cost over $100 million just for the electricity and computer chips. Running the model so that millions of people can use it for free costs even more money every single day. So far, most of these AI companies are losing money. They charge $20 a month for a subscription, but the computing power needed for each user might cost $40 or $50. That is an unpayable debt. Venture capitalists have been paying the bills, but they will eventually want their money back. The second debt is the reliability debt. These models are very good at sounding confident, but they are also very good at being wrong. They invent facts, often called hallucinations. They cannot truly reason like a human. They can write a pretty good essay about history, but they don't actually know what history is. Because of this, many of the grand promises, like AI curing cancer or replacing all office workers, haven't come true. The digital utopia where robots do all our work is not here yet. This gap between hype and reality is dangerous for CEOs, because many people have been foolishly laid off due to an overestimation of what AI could do. 2 years ago, many bosses thought, why do I need a writer or a coder? I have ChatGPT. So they fired talented people. Then they realized that AI still needs a human to check every single fact and fix every single bug. The AI saved time, but it didn't replace the human. Those layoffs look pretty foolish now. The financial bubble is going to burst. During the next year, many CEOs who bit into the poison fruit of infinite growth will themselves be laid off. The investors will get angry. The stock prices of AI companies will drop. Headlines will scream, AI is dead. We will enter a period of cold, hard reality. That will not be the end of the story, though. It will just be the beginning of the next phase. So what does the next phase look like? It will not be about giant public chatbots that try to do everything for everyone. Instead, the next phase will be about small, even tiny, private models. serving thousands of vertical markets. What is a vertical market? Think about a specialized industry. For example, a lawyer who only does real estate contracts, a farmer who needs to identify plant diseases, or a local mechanic who needs to diagnose an old truck engine. These are vertical niches. They don't need an AI that knows how to write a sonnet about a cat. They need an AI that knows the specific rules of their tiny corner of the world. The new AI models are becoming much more efficient. They are getting smaller, smarter, and cheaper. Since ChatGPT first came out, I have thought of AIs as power tools for the mind. You wouldn't use a giant industrial buzzsaw to cut a single piece of paper. You use a small, precise pair of scissors. The same logic applies here. I have already started using tools like GPT-4 All to build personal models on topics I care about. I can take a bunch of my own notes, my favorite book chapters, and my personal calendar, and I can train a tiny AI that lives on my laptop. It doesn't talk to the internet. It doesn't share my data with a giant company. It just helps me organize my thoughts. It is private, cheap, and useful. More people will be doing this. You already see it in the increasing number of YouTube videos talking about local AI. People are excited to run Stable Diffusion on their gaming PC or run a chatbot on their MacBook without paying a monthly fee. The models have become so efficient that they run on cheaper hardware. In some cases, you need nothing more than a reasonably powerful PC or Mac. You don't need a supercomputer anymore. This shift from the cloud, giant data centers, to the local, your own computer, is the real future. The AI winter will kill the hype. It will bankrupt the companies that promised the moon but only delivered a few rocks. But that bankruptcy will clear the ground for something better. It will allow thousands of small, useful, private models to bloom. The AI winter is coming, but it is not the end of artificial intelligence. It is just the end of the party. The real work starts when the hangover is over. Do you know that any private information you put into a cloud AI is used to train that AI? A private AI running on your own hardware is the best way to keep your private data private. I can help you set up a private AI on almost any PC or server. Contact me for a free consultation. I have published more than 700 blogs on AI in the past 3 years. If you get value from these blogs, please consider joining my Patreon as a member at the $2, $4, or $8 level. https://www.patreon.com/Steve Hovland.